Welcome to Butterflies of Wisdom, everyone. If I sound a little off today, that's because I'm in the middle of writing, my second manuscript that's due this week. I've actually put myself on a deadline, so it's due this week and I've already passed the deadline. So if I sound a little off and a little stressed, that's what's the life of a writer now. I don't even consider myself a teacher. And so I have Sheevaun with me. And so without further ado, I'm going to let Sheevaun take it away.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Wynn. Thanks for having me here. So I think you're all probably trying to figure out, who is this person? And so we'll just start with that.
Yes.
My first business I started at 11, and it wasn't a lemonade stand, however I did that. But I was mowing lawns, and so I love business. I would hang out with my dad on Saturdays in his office, and I just really loved the idea of business. And so I went off in high school and became a computer programmer because they couldn't figure out what to do with me. They knew I was bored, so they put me in computer programming school, and I liked it. It was pretty good. And fast forward, knew I always wanted to live in California. Moved to California and started working for a company that I worked for back east, and I knew it was like dipping my toe in the water to make sure that I could stay in California. So I had a job and things were easier for me. And then I found this company that was entrepreneurial, and there were 12 of us. And it was for computer, it was microcomputer accessories, and it was for ergonomics of the computer. And I loved doing that and helped that company grow to $150 million-ish and get sold. And I was hooked on entrepreneurs from then. And so I kept looking for entrepreneurial circumstances to go work for. And at some point in time, pretty early on, I was just like, I need to be my own boss and do things my own way. And so I started one company, and it was for travel accessories, and I started doing super well and getting known all over the world. And as fate would have it, I got knocked off by American Express, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Somebody thinks it's a great idea. I don't have the income to compete with them. Good, that's fine. That's not my passion. But I had fun. It was great. I did well with it. So started really thinking about what I was here for. And during that time, I had gotten sick from overworking and spending too many hours, enjoying what I was doing, because I really did enjoy what I was doing. But I spent way too many hours doing it, and I ended up in the emergency room being told that I was going to die if I didn't take their medicine. And at the time, I didn't realize that I really didn't like the concept of Western medicine and drugs. And one of the companies I was working to help grow and build at that time was a pharmaceutical company. So I decided if I could help companies get built and sold, I should be able to really take that concept and bring it into my own life and my own world and heal myself, even though I really didn't know what that meant. And so I did. I went home from the emergency room. I listened to them and took their medicine that time, and thought, well, okay, I can do this. And sure enough, I spent 2 months laying on my sofa and learned how I had been thinking all those years and how my business mind really applied to helping my body get healthy, and stay healthy. So in that time period, I learned this thing about, there's this thing called energy, and it applies to everything, and, it really gives you the ability to have health, etc. And if you learn how energy works, then you're going to have a healthier body. And I thought, oh, that makes so much sense. That's exactly how I healed my body, and I didn't even know. So I took a class in it, and loved the class and started just experimenting with lots of folks around anywhere I was traveling when I was in corporate. And then I started playing around with it in business. And what I found is that sales started happening faster and easier and more fluid, and I had more fun and I had way more energy. And I thought, oh, there's something special here. So I took that concept and started building programs and processes and circumstances that allow a business or somebody who seeks a better life to have more ease and grace in their world. And I've been doing that, for the past 18 years.
Oh my God. So you and I have a little similar story. I don't know if my fans know this, but I got physically sick in the corporate world too. I was teaching preschool, and if you know preschoolers, they carry every germ on the planet, and I got physically sick, and in March, I had the health scare of my life, which I almost had to have back surgery this summer, and it turns out that I don't need back surgery, thank God. But I think that really solidified to me that I needed to get out of the education field. And so as of May 22nd, 2018, I will gracefully exit the education field so I can have more energy into my life, be less sick, enjoy my life, because what I'm doing now is writing. That's what I was doing before we got on this call. So I like to write. I don't like to be someone else's employee. I'm sorry, but I'm not cut for the cubicle. I'm more of the creative side, which most people with disabilities are cut for the creative side. And we're not cut for the 9-to-5 job because we physically can't do it. We physically have all these components to contend with to our physical disabilities. So now, Sheevaun, how would you say to a person listening to this podcast, let's say the disabled, get their energy back so they can focus on what they really want to focus on?
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that's super important is, work on your self-confidence. And part of that self-confidence is going to come about through better breathing. And one of the fascinating things that I find with anybody, no matter what circumstance they find themselves in, is that breathing is one of the first things that goes out of a person's life. And it's like we tend to hold our breath more, and we tend to forget that we have really big lungs that really need to be filled up from the top all the way to the bottom. And we deprive all of our extremities and our drive and initiative of breath and oxygen. And oxygen and breath is really the basis of energy, so that what can happen is whether your body, your brain, your business needs something, it has to really, really be filled with excess energy. So if you're depriving yourself, then your business or your idea or your concept will be deprived.
I definitely agree. And if you're so emotionally exhausted after teaching preschool, no wonder why preschool teachers need seminar. You are not going to get all your energy back, / you are going to have a health scare like Yvonne and I did and get sent to the hospital, basically, and wonder why you're in so much pain. Because if you don't breathe and if you don't have your health in order, you have nothing. And I mean nothing, you guys. You can't make $1 million. You can't do anything because you're flat on your back trying to get better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the self-confidence comes when when you have fullness of, like your brain is online, etc. So we have a couple of techniques that I teach. No matter what your circumstances, anybody can use these. You put your left thumb to your right earlobe and your right thumb to your left earlobe and take some breaths, and you would be shocked at what beautiful energy starts to flow into your brain, because your brain is the thing that needs all of that extra fuel.
So, okay, now we talked about energy, and now I'm going to get to the baseline questions here, which I ask all my audience. What is your favorite book? And it doesn't have to be based on this book. It has to be a book that you go back to time and time again.
My favorite book that I go back to time and time again, boy, I don't really read a lot of books. So I really read kind of esoteric books. And
that's okay.
Yeah, I would say probably that I would use. Oh my goodness. I would really I think the best thing is probably not what I would read. It's really about where can somebody start. And I think the best solution would be like the 4 Agreements. And that's a lovely book. And that really helps you stay in integrity and moving ahead and really learning about how prosperity works. Those 2 concepts, particularly the 4 Agreements, I think that helps anybody who's in any circumstance not to back down from success. And then things that have to do with prosperity are super important, like Florence Scovel Shinn and things like that. So yeah, I would say those would really help any one of your listeners.
And those can be found on audiobook and on Amazon, I hope, because a lot of people with physical disabilities, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but some can't physically hold a book. So it's easier for them to listen to it on audio tape. And people know this about me, my audio retention is 2 seconds flat, but my book retention, that's a different story in itself, because I can't physically hold a book, let alone turn the pages, let alone comprehend what's on the page. So now all my books have to be on Kindle or on audio tape.
And that's, and thank you for bringing that up, because that's one of the things when I recorded my books that I've written, I wanted to make sure anybody who had any capabilities or challenges, and, everybody learns differently. Some learn by the word on a page, and some learn by the ear, and some have different abilities. And so that's why I personally recorded my own books, and I think it's just so critical. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's so critical. And all Sheevaun's work could be found on Audible, you guys. Just because you can't physically hold a book doesn't mean you can't read a book.
So true.
So true. And now, Sheevaun, what is your favorite podcast if you have one?
I just kind of got into, I had my own podcast before podcasting became cool and, all this stuff. But, I just started listening to some, and one of my favorite ones is called This American Life. And the other one is called The Moth Story Hour. Those are 2 of my favorite ones.
And those are produced by National Public Radio, you guys. And
They
we
are,
are
yes.
out of Washington, D.C., yes. So we're talking about the big place now. And Sheevaun, you sent me, you had your own podcast. Do you still have it?
You know, I have one that is archived from some time ago, and that's called Master Your Energy, Master Your Life. You can find it kind of deep in the archives on iTunes. And then a new one that I put out called Driving for Your Success. And they're little success bites of like 2 to 5 minutes. They're so just like spot on. Here you go. Boom, boom. And next. And it's really easy stuff that you can listen to and really get pumped up and then go on with your day.
Towards your success.
It's Driving for Your Success. Mm-hmm.
Driving for your success, not towards people. Driving for your success. And that is still a recent podcast. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, if you had to be educated by anyone, who would it be and why?
Yeah, I love that question. I think at different times in my life, I would have said different folks, but, I really like the teachings of, kind of the concepts of, Solomon and shamans and folks like that, because it's really about nature and what nature intends for the body and the brain and the life and success. And when we look at our brain and our life, we have an opportunity to really find nuggets. And I think those folks have some awesome wisdom that get to be, translated down. But if we weren't to go so esoteric, there's an amazing man called Robert Collier. And he used to be a publisher in the 20s and 30s and 40s. And he has a plethora of books, and would have loved to have just hung out with him. That would have been so cool.
And what question would you ask him?
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't ask him one question. I would just sit and hang out and just,
Yeah.
I would want to just shadow him. I don't think I would have one question.
And where can people find your books? And what are the titles of your books?
Yeah. Gosh, I have a bunch. So one of them is called Learn to Meditate in 2 Minutes for the Lazy, Crazy, and Time Deficient. And it teaches you, the basics of why meditation works and why it doesn't work. And it demystifies all the weird woo-woo stuff. Another book about manifesting called Shotgun Shopping, based upon how my mother loved to shop and I couldn't stand it, but I was able to get anything I wanted without ever going to a store. So it's kind of it's fun tongue in cheek, but there's a lot of lessons in there. Another one I wrote is called 5 Essential Energies for Immediate Success. And then another one I wrote is called Dancing with the Divine. And I think we've got another one called 12 Essential Energies for Personal Power.
And did you self-publish all these?
I did. I do have one coming out that is not self-published toward the end of this year, and I at one point in my career I'd helped somebody publish 26 of his books, so I was very familiar with the publishing system. So yes, I've self-published all of them.
You self-published good indie author, and I wish you the best of luck with your traditionally published book. I actually have one of my books working on now called, I won't give the name, but it's something to do with fashion. And this one I'm working on now, after it goes through its editors and ghostwriting, it will be published by a small publisher. So that will be in January, you guys. So you have to wait. until January. And yeah, that will be in January. I said to my publisher that I am waiting to work with them until January because it's a little bit difficult for me to write a book, and they want to produce this as traditional publishers do. So I'm really excited to make that announcement. So, Sheevaun, what is your favorite technology tool that you use on a daily basis?
My favorite technology tool is Trello. Our whole company, we have everybody using Trello. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep, Trello. That's a good one. What Trello does, you guys, is organizes you. Trello organizes you to a T because you can assign tasks to people on your team, and they can do the task, check it off, and then hand it off to the next person. So I am not surprised Sheevaun said Trello. And Sheevaun, where can people find you?
Yeah, they can go to Sheevaun Moran, SheevaunMoran.com, and then click that little pink button up there and get that download.
Get that download. Pink button, get download. And of course, we'll have all of Sheevaun's information and my information in the show notes, you guys. By the time you guys hear this, it will be go out on Tuesday. My shows are now going out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then Sheevaun will have the link on Sunday, but it won't go live until Tuesday. But before I let Sheevaun go, I want Sheevaun to ask me a couple of questions.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, sure. What got you inspired to share what you're doing? I mean, and to really reach out to this audience?
Well, you mean to become a disabled advocate?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I mean, really, it's really however you answer that is up to you. Whether you're disabled, I don't consider anyone disabled, so I think everyone has the opportunity. I think we're all disabled in some way.
Yes, we are. Why I decided to become a disabled advocate? Well, I wrote a book. I wrote a book at age 23 after having a tragic loss in my life, which I fully admit in I, win. And I, win, I, W-I-N, capital I, W-I-N is my first autobiography. So then people, complete strangers, started asking me, how do you do all this with a physical disability? How do you run a company? How do you work? How do you go to school? How do you get an education degree with a disability? And so then I said, oh boy, they opened up a can of worms that now I either have to shut or just continue. And I thought, well, why not interview influential people like you, Sheevaun, and infuse my story with it? So that's how Butterflies of Wisdom came to be, and Winds of Women of Wisdom came to be. So that's why I started this podcast, and that's why I became a disabled advocate. And so do you have any more questions for me?
Yeah, I think that's fascinating. I love that answer. I remember when I was, when I left home and I would communicate with my dad on a regular basis, about, different people. I grew up in a very tiny town, and he'd say, oh, you remember so-and-so? Oh, you remember so-and-so? You remember so-and-so? And I don't see people as disabled, so I think very differently, I guess, than most people. And say, oh, you remember Randy, something or other, la la, he's in a wheelchair, and he asked about you every single time I see him. I'm like, really, why? And he said you were just always so kind, and you just always made time, and you were always there for him. And I thought, that's really fascinating. It's sad that not others did that. So I think my question to you would be, is there somebody that stands out in your brain as to who's gone out of their way to, see that you're taken care of in some way?
I'm not dumb. Well, it would happen to be my boss from my work. And believe it or not, it is my family, but it's not my family because they really understand it, including my stepmom and my stepsister, believe it or not. I have acquired those in my 30s, and because I lost my biological mom, my dad is getting engaged again, and so I have now acquired a stepmom and a stepsister, and for them to take me on is a miracle in itself, because a lot of people don't want to take the baggage on of a disabled person. But to get back to really stands out in my mind and doesn't see that I'm dumb is my boss at work. He just says, hi to me, how can I help you, basically. He doesn't treat me as if I have a disability, and the moment I leave May 22nd, 2018, I know there's going to be people, including him, running up to me saying, let's make this work because we need you. We need you to teach diversity to our kids.
I think that's awesome. Yeah, love that question.
So,
I think that's beautiful. Yeah. So cool.
Well,
I don't really have any other questions for you, but other than that, I would say, what's the weirdest thing that you remember learning in your life?
The weirdest thing that I remember learning in my life. The weirdest thing. Oh, I know what it is. It took me a couple minutes to think about it. How to gracefully, now I can do it, but how to gracefully walk in a big giant exo. That was the weirdest thing in my life to learn how to navigate. And I apologize for the coughing attack, you guys. And so that was the weirdest learning experience ever, because I'm short, the exoskeleton is giant, and I'm using it as a big gait trainer. They finally did a study about exoskeletons with cerebral palsy in young kids, not even adults. But that was the weirdest thing I had to learn in my life. And I'm still learning how to use it to this day, because it's weird, because you're taking off in a robot. You're literally taking off in a robot.
That's awesome. Yeah, energy's everywhere, even in an exoskeleton. Wow, that's so cool. Thank you.
It was just the weirdest experience that I ever experienced in my life, ever experienced how to learn. So if you guys want more information on the exoskeleton, go to bridgingbionics.com or just type them in on Facebook, and you'll see more information in the show notes, you guys, about Bridging Bionics, and you'll understand why it's the weird sensation or the weirdest feeling having to learn how to control an exoskeleton. Because if you look at the size of me and you look at the size of this exoskeleton, big diff, but I'm using it as a big giant gate trainer, and it's slowly creeping in my book. And so I have a book coming out that I already have the publishing all set up, but I have a book coming out all about the exoskeleton. Yeah, I need to get back to that book. But, yeah, a fictional novel with the exoskeleton in it. And now that I'm an expert in it, I can actually speak on behalf of the exoskeleton. So, if you guys want more information, just Google the Bridging Bionics Foundation or look in my show notes. But Sheevaun, to answer your question, that was the weirdest learning lesson in my life. You would think snowboarding would be weirdest learning lesson in my life, but no. Learning how to control an exo is a pretty unique experience.
I think you're right. I like it. That's awesome. Awesome.
Yep, awesome. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. And if you need me, you can always tweet me at Win, W-I-N, Kelly, K-E-L-L-Y, Charles. And Sheevaun, where can they find you on social media?
Oh my goodness. You can find me on Twitter at Sheevaun, S-H-E-E-V-A-U-N, on Instagram at Sheevaun Moran, on that other thing called Facebook, Sheevaun O-M, and we have this awesome site called Epic Life Now, and there's all kinds of cool stuff on that. So, yeah, lots of fun things on social media. Love to hear from you there.
Love to hear from you there, and as I would, so send Sheevaun and I a tweet, and we'll get back to you. I don't know about Sheevaun, but I'll send them and get back to you guys. And I just want to thank you so much, Sheevaun, for coming on and sharing your story with my audience and making it relevant to my audience. Sheevaun kindly asked me who's the audience before we got on this call, so that's why she mentioned the disabled, because my audience is the disabled. You guys haven't figured that out yet, and I truly appreciate everyone's support as we made to 60,000 downloads of all time. So let's keep this momentum going, and I'll keep my books going, and I'll keep the podcast going throughout my journalism degree, and of course I'll keep you guys updated on that. And I truly appreciate your support. This podcast has been sponsored by Grace by Grit. Grace by Grit is a clothing line out of California, and they're giving you 20% off when you type in the code EXO Butterflies at checkout, and all that information will be in the show notes. You guys, thank you guys. Bye.